Alright, so I'm gonna go ahead and just go ahead and try to do a full Maple Treeway guide for the non-glitch section. So I'm just going to use my world record video and I'm going to show you some things I do, why I did them, and if I can, how much time it saves, because this track is really random and a good amount of it is luck based. A lot of things can happen. Alright, so one of the first things I do is I go on here and I go for that little pocket of air, because on those two boost pads, what happens is if you get air, you will go a lot faster and you won't have to worry about getting the SMT right before the cannon, because it'll hold it. And what you want to do, if you do get that pocket of air, you're going to want to lean back like I did there, because it'll boost you. And this is more of an advanced strat, but also after that, you're going to want to jump onto that next boost pad, because of the same reason, is there's more air, so it's faster. And if you do it right, you will still be able to go tight here, just like I did. And for the cannon, what's really the most important thing to do is you want to trick as early as possible. But if you trick too early, you will just go up, just straight up, and you won't be able to do anything. And how you know you did it right is if your wheel is a little bit to the left, like it is right there. And so once you manage to do that, you want to go up as much as possible, and you want to get as close to this as possible, because the closer you are to this little brown thing, that means you got the most out of your cannon and it will be a lot faster. So you do want to go for this bush here to get your first coin. Go tight there. Alright, for this turn, you want to take it as tight as possible. And sometimes what will happen, that, I don't know if you can see it or not, but this little fence post, if you go too tight, it'll just cut you off and it'll push you. But that doesn't really happen that much, so you still do need to go as tight as you can. Alright, so for this next turn, you kind of want to hug this wall. But if you can see the color difference here, like in this corner here, if you hit that, it will stop you. Like the lighter shade, I guess you can say, that's basically the wall. Like this house isn't really the wall here. This lighter part is. So you're going to want to go tight and then go close to the fence. And then after you get your empty, you want to jump 3 times. Alright, so what everyone used to do back in the day, they used to go for those 3 coins, but after a while, a new glider strat was made at the end of the lap. So now what we do is we go for the grind here, and it saves a lot. Any grind will save you a lot, but if you don't get the grind, you're going to want to have to release your SMT as early as possible. 1, for alignment, and 2, you want to try to make up that missed time, because if you don't get the grind, you are going to lose a fair amount of time. So go here, you go tight, low trick off of this ramp, and as soon as you land, you want to take as little time as possible, and you want to like envision a straight line all the way down, so that when you jump, you get those 3 coins. You want to jump 8 times. Alright, so now what we do is after this glider, we go down and then we go back up and then we go down to land on those branches. What we used to do is that we used to go to the right and we would just hop off the ground and go in this little section. But this, what I'm facing, is way, way faster, and you will still get to be able to have those 10 coins. So you go down, then you go up as high as you can, and right before you trick off of the first branch, you want to lift up, because it'll boost you. And if you trick and you just fall on the floor, you just go ahead and start it over, because you lose the whole entire run. And then you just want to lean forward there, and that's the first lap. Alright, second lap, it doesn't matter as much if you get that pocket of air, but it will definitely help. I didn't do it, but alright. So if you're over here more, like if you just happen to end up over there, sometimes what will happen is that it will shoot you up into the air and then you will land on that. Like if you get air here by just sitting here and trying to charge up your SMT, just hold your circle pad left. You still want to go as tight. And then make sure your cannon's pretty good. Alright, so for here, you want to go wide and then you want to go in just like that U-turn. And a good way to know if you've gone wide enough is if you hit that little bush that you had to get to have the first coin. But the thing is, if you go too tight here, you will fly over to the left side of this part and you will lose so much time that you're going to have to start over again. That's really important. Alright, so depending on your pace, if you're in the 219 and 218 range, what you want to do is that you want to go out and then hit the wiggler. But if you're like at a low 218 and any 217, you just want to keep going and turn, because like the wiggler will probably still be moving. And so if you go wide and then you try to go for it, you're going to miss it because it'll be too late and your pace will be behind. But if you were where I'm at, I'm pretty much, I turn like a 90-degree angle, and you want to release this right before you hit the wiggler, and you just want to hold right because you'll line yourself up for this little house thing. Alright, the second wiggler boost is a lot harder than the first one, but in a lot of ways it's way better than the first one. The first one is easy and just about everyone can do it with enough practice, but the second one is really hard because you're going to have to get yourself a good line for the boost pad. So as soon as you you hit the bush, like you know when you see this, you release your MT, hit the wiggler, and then you just hold right, because if you don't, you're going to go wide and you're going to lose a lot of time and it'll be pretty much for nothing. So just remember the bush and then release, hit, hold right. Alright, so I don't do the 3 hops for this because the MT is way more important than the 3 hops. Because if you do the second wiggler boost, you will not have time to get the SMT and then do the 3 hops, because that's just impossible. So if you manage to do the second wiggler boost, all you need to focus on before the boost pad is the MT, because if you don't, you're gonna go really slow. But if you don't get the second wiggler boost, then do the 3 hops. Alright, so if you're having trouble with any of the U-turns, you just want to have to go wide and then go in. And this also takes a lot of practice, and don't forget to release it early. So you do want to fit in 8 hops, but if you can only fit 7, it's not that big of a deal. But 8 is the ideal amount. And the glider is the same as before. The only difference is though, you want to go to the left of the branch, because if you go to the right, it's a lot bigger and you will just go up and go off of it. But if you go to the left, you're going to spend less time in the air after your trick, so it's going to be a lot faster. This track is very precise on where you are and what time that you're there. It's very line specific. Go ahead and skip a little bit. Alright, so if you have a 219 or a 218, you don't have to worry about this part. But whenever you have 217, or if you're in the top 10 or wherever you might be in that range, the third wiggler will start to become a problem. And there's 2 ways to do this. One is to release your SMT as late as possible, or you want to release it as early as possible and get over to the left. But for the third wiggler boost, it's probably one of the hardest things in the game to do, and it's really luck based too, because I've hit this back foot before and it's pushed me back. It's the run before this, it put me way over to the side. But this is how you do it, is the same as before. You release your SMT right before you hit it, and you just hope that you can line yourself up. but this is really, really hard to do, and I've been the only person who's been able to fit this in a run. So if you don't care about the third regular boost, then I guess you can just go ahead and skip this part. Alright, so don't forget to hug the fence and then do your 3 hops. The grind is the same as always, and so is the hopping. The thing is though, if you get a bad alignment here, you're going to lose a lot of time because you're going to have to slowly and make small movements to your circle pad to go to the left or right just to be able to line yourself up. And a thing is to do, you can like start a little drift and then drift to your right, and so like you'll be more like this instead of how I am now. Another thing is doing a low trick, because a low trick will be able to use that small amount of boost you get to turn your circle pad to the left. Because like this right now, that's when I'm using the boost you get from the trick, so you don't lose any time lining yourself up. Either one of those two things are really good, and you don't want to be over here, because if you get too over here, you won't get your hops, and you can hit the little wall right there, and it's just really bad because you don't have that good line of sight. And then after this, you can go ahead and do your glider again. Just don't hit the floor. And then that's it. That's how you play Maple Treeway.